What is going on, all you awesome superhero aficionados? This is the Heroes and Mutants podcast. I'm Nick with my co-hosts Jimmy and Eric. Hope you guys had a very eventful and happy Thanksgiving. Wish you guys all the best. Super excited to get started today, so let's go ahead and jump into it. Also, too, if you guys are liking our content and liking everything that we do, make sure you hit that like button. Make sure you subscribe. Also, follow us on IG at Heroes and Mutants podcast. Let's get into it. So there was also some, we announced last episode a lot of casting news. There was something we actually forgot to mention, which is probably one of the more significant casting news, just because it's been an actor who had an extreme downfall in probably like the last 10 years and is making his comeback in a way there's kind of like a pun what they say it is, but if you guys aren't aware, Brendan Fraser has been cast as Firefly in the Batgirl film for HBO Max. And in recent years, he's been making what they call the Renaissance. So I think this is very significant for those of us who grew up in the 90s and grew up with him as that awesome action, badass action star. So how cool is this to see Brendan's comeback?
I'm happy to see him coming back. He seems very happy about his newfound, well, not newfound, that's a really bad way of putting it, his return success.
Right.
It seems the entire internet is happy to see Brendan Fraser return. He's
Definitely
one of those actors that's very likable and, as far as I know, doesn't rub people the wrong way. And, of course, when you're trying to make a comeback, and Michael Keaton did this years ago, the best way to make a comeback in the modern era, acting, to put you on the map, is to be in an MCU movie. or a DC movie, a comic book movie, period. Usually it's more likely to be Marvel, but a comic book movie, period. And I'm just happy that he's going to return, and it's going to be exciting to see him in Batgirl.
Definitely.
Well, I do wish that this were a theatrical movie, though.
Definitely. Yeah. Same here. And it was cool because, like, obviously, too, this is his second DC production he's been a part of, because he also was Robot Man. More so the likeliness of the human counterpart, and then obviously voicing the character. He wasn't on set actually portraying Robot Man, but the fact that he was like, there was just a whole lot of heartwarming stuff that came from that. And I was like, okay, cool, we're getting Brendan Fraser in the show. That was a big reason on why I wanted to watch it, too. It's really great, but that fact that it also had Brendan Fraser in there was really cool. What do you think overall, Eric?
I think it's really cool to see. I mean, I don't know if you saw the movie No Sudden Move. It was with Benicio del Toro, and he was in it, and he actually did really well, and as a serious character, a serious actor. And so, because I feel like a lot of his older movies, like, I mean, you know him from The Mummy and all these other action movies. George of the Jungle.
Encino Man was probably the first thing I saw him in, because I had an older brother, and he was like, "Oh, you gotta watch this movie." So
yeah, I felt like all those characters, all those movies, like, were less serious, didn't take itself too seriously. But Definitely. seeing him in No Sudden Move, I actually saw him as that was the first time I remember seeing him as a really good actor that was really taking in a character and making it a super serious role. Mm. So because of that, I think, I mean, I have the feeling that he's a really good actor, so that he can do anything. And again, I think it's just kind of a resurgence that's happening in these last few years. I love him in Doom Patrol, and early on he was obviously in Titans as Robot Man?
Yeah, he was Robot Man.
Yeah, so I mean, he brings a lot of comedy to that role, but at the same time, it's really cool to see him just doing more.
Definitely.
I kind of get what you mean, Eric. It seems like he's trying, I mean, he was always a great action, a movie star, but it does seem like he's trying to take his acting more seriously now.
Yeah.
Age.
Well, and I think now when he first came back, the first role he had done in a long time was The Affair, and he was the prison warden or something like that. And I think that was the first indication to see, wow, now he's, making that comeback and trying to venture into something that's a little bit more serious and showing people that he's a really capable actor. Because obviously before he was, known as an action star, a comedic kind of guy. So seeing him venture into that was really cool, was planting those seeds for that long-awaited comeback that we had all just been anticipating for an extremely long time. So super cool to see it. We can't wait to see how everything plays out, and I'm assuming that he's going to be the main villain for Batgirl. They haven't said if it's going to include another villain, but we're assuming him as Firefly is going to be the main baddie. So awesome to see. And also, speaking on Batgirl, according to Daniel RPK on his Twitter account, it will lead into Journey Smollett's Black Canary solo project. So it means
cool.
she's going to be making an appearance, I'm assuming. Well, especially just because of the whole like Birds of Prey thing. I'm assuming they're, even though they actually did that already, I think that's also something that's good. The Birds of Prey are still around, so I'm assuming like maybe it's going to be some kind of recruitment for Batgirl too. So
yeah, I could definitely see. Well, I'm pretty excited. I really liked her Black Canary in the Birds of Prey movie, and we haven't heard too many announcements about what's going forward with most of those characters since that movie came out, just because it didn't do as well as the studio had wanted it to do. But it is nice to see that there is still some action going forward with those characters. And I really like Journey Smollett in the role. I like that movie. I thought it was pretty good. I know a lot of people didn't care for Birds of Prey, but I thought it was entertaining.
Yeah, same. Yeah, I thought it was really cool. I remember, I think I talked about it on the podcast, but seeing it with my wife, she really liked it because she was saying how cool it was to actually see a female role as that, like a female-led team. And she compared it to Avengers Endgame, because there's that one scene where like all the girls come together and they're fighting, and she felt like that was kind of forced, whereas the Birds of Prey movie actually seemed like they belonged there and only them should have been there to do what they did in that movie.
Like, so a little bit more organic, a little more natural.
Exactly. Yeah.
Right.
So she really liked that about it, and hopefully they go in that same vein and it doesn't feel like a forced female-led superhero movie again, because we've seen that before, especially with like the show Supergirl. It feels very forced. Again, my wife's not a fan of that show.
That's the CW though.
Yeah.
I mean, Black Canary is a badass character.
Oh yeah.
I really liked her in the movie, so I'm excited to see Black Canary get her own film spin-off, whatever they're going to do with it, whether it's a movie or a show or more.
Yeah, both Black Canary and Batgirl. I'm really hoping they do Batgirl justice, because it's almost always like she's in the shadow of Batman, which makes sense, and I just want her to kind of come into her own in the movies. Kind of how we see like Nightwing, and see Nightwing in the back there, like he comes into his own. He becomes his own superhero. I don't think we've really seen a version of Batgirl like that. It's always Batgirl's kind of following Batman, and that's it.
Or they have her.
Whenever they need a tech person or somebody to hack into something, it's always Barbara's the one.
Yeah, they need Oracle
relied upon.
Yeah.
So the pretty cool. Hopefully, this also play, especially if they're going to be having this Batgirl. They're also going to be having the solo Black Canary project. Hopefully, they're going to be doing a Birds of Prey Part 2 in the future. We don't exactly know if they have any more plans for the Huntress and for Renee Montoya. We'll see how that all plays out. But exciting stuff on the horizon for sure.
Let's just hope they don't make Batgirl sleep with Batman like in that Killing Joke movie.
Oh no, that was so unnecessary.
I don't know, man. That was definitely my favorite part, because that proves my long-standing theory that Bruce has one of his compartments in the utility belt. He has a bat condom by Wayne. I'm just saying, proves it.
We don't know if they use protection. I mean,
yeah, exactly. But yeah, that's definitely one of the weirdest things I've ever seen in comics, especially just when.
As long as they don't do that.
I even think they had to have Kevin Conroy and Tara Strong. Is it Tara Strong who voices Batgirl in that? Tara Strong, right? Voice Timmy Turner. She's like done a lot of voice acting.
Yes. Yeah.
They even had her they even had both of them at a panel. They had to defend that choice, and it was just so awkward, and so you could tell they kind of didn't really. They were trying to just offset it, and they didn't really try to say much. So that even just that fact, I was like,
that's too bad that they had to defend it, because they didn't write it. They were
it was just acting out.
Yeah,
just reciting the lines essentially, and having to act out what was written on the pages already,
Yeah.
But. A lot of exciting stuff on the horizon. And also, one of the biggest things that happened recently that we haven't covered was we saw the announcement of new projects and some teaser trailers for upcoming shows on Disney Plus Day. A lot of stuff that they revealed with Marvel. So we got a lot of stuff that they revealed. They revealed Marvel Zombies. It's going to be an animated series. They revealed, obviously, Agatha. We knew Agatha Harkness is going to have her own show. Now we have confirmation it's going to be Agatha House of Harkness. Obviously, we got Ironheart. I Am Groot. We got Spider-Man Freshman Year, which is going to be an animated series based on Peter Parker's freshman year as Spider-Man. I think it was supposed to be before he became Spider-Man. There was like some kind of
his freshman year of high school.
Yeah, that's
so
what they said.
that's gonna be his origin story. If you listen to like kind of the details in what they say in Spider-Man: Homecoming, or was it either Homecoming or in Civil War? He mentions how long he's been Spider-Man, and he said he's only been Spider-Man for a
Like
few months.
I think it was 6 months. If I
Yeah, he says it
recall
was 6 months, and he mentions also that he's just a sophomore in high school. So it's probably his origin story that they're gonna play through this series. So it would make sense because we all know the Spider-Man origin story, but we never really technically saw it play out in the MCU. He was just already Spider-Man, and Iron Man came, Tony Stark came to talk to him. So essentially, yeah, that's what it would be. It'd be his origin story of how Peter Parker becomes Spider-Man.
Awesome. And then they also revealed there's going to be an Echo series, which is going to be a spin-off of a character we saw on Hawkeye, who's a pretty awesome character in the comics. I won't give it away yet. Well, I'm sure I know Eric wants to talk about that. We'll get to that.
Yeah.
One of the biggest things they announced was they're going to be doing a continuation of the X-Men series from the 90s with that badass rock theme song. That's going to be called X-Men 97. So that's going to be awesome.
X-Men 93.
That's what they should have called it, right? Well, probably because the series stopped in 97, so it's a continuation of it.
I guess because 97 sounds more recent, or it doesn't. I don't know. Technically it should be X-Men 93, but
yeah,
I
they both sound old.
And then we also got teaser trailers for Moon Knight, She-Hulk, and Miss Marvel. So out of everything that they revealed or they showed, what are you guys most excited for?
Admittedly, probably the X-Men 93.
Okay. I think that's an easy route to just go down, right? Because
93. But I grew up watching that cartoon. It used to come on Fox Kids right after Batman the Animated Series, which was my favorite as a kid, so that was like a cool lead-in. I actually started rewatching some of it not too long ago, and it was interesting to go back and revisit that again. It was a really good version of the X-Men. I felt like it was really faithful. It's how we got introduced to a lot of the concepts of the X-Men, and it was certainly my introduction into the X-Men universe. Kind of what made them like so. I mean, I know that they were always big superheroes, but I feel like our generation, it was the cartoon that solidified X-Men as kind of a really powerful force in the Marvel universe. So I'm excited for that. I understand that they're trying to keep it like the old show. So does that mean the animation is going to be the same?
That's what I've been wondering too.
I mean, they have to update it a little bit, right? I mean, they have to
They have to at least make it widescreen.
Yeah.
No, there had to be updates in it.
Yeah,
but I don't know.
Well, what about
series that are the current series that's on Disney Plus? Are those remastered, or is it just? I haven't tried watching the old series.
No, I don't. Is it remastered? I don't think so.
No.
I know Batman the Animated Series on the HBO Max is, but I don't think these are. They don't look like it.
Okay. Yeah. I don't know, we'll see. Well, I'm equally excited for X-Men, but I think the most excited I am from all the Disney Plus Day announcements is She-Hulk, right? Because Hulk's my guy. And dude, actually seeing Bruce Banner in the trailer was really cool. But I have so many questions because I watched it, and so we see at the end of Shang-Chi, we see Bruce Banner, right? And he still has a sling on the arm.
Exactly.
Right? Okay. But in this trailer, his arm's healed, but he's the Hulk. Because he's moving both arms like nothing.
So is this supposed to take place before Shang-Chi, or is it? Well, I mean, it's supposed to take place after, right?
It's supposed to take place after, but he's still the genius Hulk, but his arm is healed.
Yeah.
Whereas in unless he hurts his arm again, but I don't know. Clumsy Bruce.
I'm pretty sure the movie will explain once we finally see it. We'll figure it out.
The show will probably explain it. But what I really liked is, I mean, it felt so nostalgic as well, because there's that part where she's standing, and it's even not even in widescreen, and she's like, "You won't like me when I'm angry." And that's a callback to the old show,
of course.
Right? And seeing all that, it just I'm really excited for it. I remember my dad playing the old show for me when I was a kid, and me like really liking Lou Ferrigno's Hulk and all that. So I'm really excited about it. That one's gonna be really fun for me to watch, and like I said, part of the nostalgia of that as well. I'm pretty sure is gonna play into that show.
Definitely. For me, it's I definitely X-Men 97 is at the top of the list for me, obviously, just because I've loved X-Men, and that was one of the first shows that really got me into superheroes. But it's gonna be an easy decision, especially for you guys. You guys know this is coming, but Moon Knight looks freaking awesome, especially just because it gravitates more towards my style and what exactly I like and what was something that I look for when these certain kind of superhero stories and a little bit, I won't say completely grounded, but someone who's a little bit more grounded than most. And I really like how they seems to be like they're really going to be playing out that multiple personalities and the insaneness of this character. I think you hear the voices talking in the trailer, and it looks like that shot. Even though we don't see him in his full costume, we had reported that there might have been a leak of what the suit will look like, and it looks like because the outlining of that scene with him in the bathroom, it looks like it's lining up with what we saw leaked back, I think, like earlier this year. So it looks like they're really going to be going for something that's very traditional in terms of his costume. I really like that, and it really feels like this is going to be their chance to really show what they're capable of in terms of action, something along the same vein as Daredevil. I don't think it's going to really hit those marks that it did with Daredevil, because Daredevil was just such a whole nother tier of action in the MCU. So overall, I'm just really excited for it. And Moon Knight's a character that I really, really am intrigued by, and I think is somebody who definitely deserves his shot at the spotlight. So exciting stuff on the horizon. Make sure you guys check out everything that's to come for Disney Plus for Marvel stuff. A lot of awesome stuff. And also, there's been some interesting developments in news on a certain actor, too. So, Henry Cavill has expressed interest in being Captain Britain, England's version of Captain America in Marvel, saying in an interview, "I'm never going to say a Marvel character that is already being played by someone else because everyone's doing such an amazing job," when asked on if there was a character he would like to play. However, I have the internet and I have seen various rumors about Captain Britain, and that would be loads of fun to do. A cool modernized version of that, like the way they modernized Captain America. There's something fun about that, and I do love being British. Knowing that this is out there, would Marvel might be quick to act, don't you guys think?
Yeah, I think that they might be quick to act. I think it would actually probably bring a lot of buzz for them to have Henry Cavill on. I think it's so funny that he would play Captain British after playing the ultimate American icon.
Exactly.
Yeah, moving on to Captain British, or to hear him saying that. It'd be more interesting if they brought, I mean, I don't know what's going to happen, if they brought him back for Superman and Captain Britain, so he would be an American icon at DC and a British icon.
And an English.
And you know what? All these actors are getting to the point where they're doing both. So why not?
Yeah,
exactly. What do you think?
I think it's great. I mean, seeing him in that role, he obviously wants to do that role, and I think there's always something to that. When you hear the old stories about Robert Downey Jr., how much he wanted to play Tony Stark, and they like really bring it to that role. So Henry Cavill is a great actor. Like, I love him in The Witcher, the series on Netflix, and I'm a big fan of the video games, and he's a fan of the video games, so he did that role justice.
Oh, he's a nerd.
Oh yeah, exactly. So I think if Marvel were to get him for that, he'd kill it. He'd do great. And I think there's plenty of stories out there with already established characters that they can use to bring him in, right? Definitely. Like, obviously they could probably do something with even like Captain Carter, since we have that in the What If series. So They might bring him in there first, kind of see what that feels like, or maybe bring him into one of the Disney Plus shows and then move on to their own film. So we'll see.
Definitely. I feel like this is a huge opportunity for Marvel, especially now that it's out there, because he's obviously a really great actor and probably one of the best looking dudes around, who is somebody who females sworn over and male and dudes are just like, hey, that's a cool dude. Hey, that's an awesome dude. Especially just because of the marketability of him. Like, he was it Geralt? Is that his name in The Witcher?
Yep.
He was Geralt. He was Superman. There's a lot of marketability. Mission Impossible.
Well,
I think
you can't have an ugly dude playing Superman. I'm sorry.
Of course not. Of course not. But just in general, I mean, when you think of Henry Cavill, you think of probably like one of the best looking dudes around, or someone when you see like dudes are just like that kind of dude where girls like him, and then guys are just like, hey, that dude is super cool, or like, hey, I don't have a problem with that dude. That dude is just freaking awesome. So I think that's a huge opportunity for Marvel to bring him around in some capacity. I'm not saying that he's going to have his own movie or that have his own show, but some capacity that's out there. I just say it would be kind of stupid on them not to capitalize it because he said it out there and obviously he's open to it. So yeah, it'd be cool to see, especially him, being DC and Marvel. But speaking further on that, he elaborated on his desire to return as Superman, saying the cape is still in the closet. Although it seems like Warner Brothers and DC has no intention of him being around, high likelihood we'll see him don the cape again.
I think so. I think especially with the Snyder Cut and how well that did, people kind of saw Zack Snyder's vision for Superman and where that was going to go, and I think for that reason they'll probably bring him back, and they'll be able to meet halfway at least, so they can bring him back in some capacity.
Yeah, I think it would also be hard to kind of replace him. Like, I understand that they wanted to do a black Superman, which is fine. Because, I mean, there's multiple universes with Superman anyway. But I'd have a hard time seeing Henry Cavill replaced. It's also because I think, especially with that, like the Snyder Cut that Eric was saying, I feel like people like his Superman more now. I didn't care for him in Batman versus Superman. It wasn't the actor's fault. It's just the way that movie was put together. It was way too sour for
dour, very dour.
Dour and sour. It was just bitter. There was like this emo bitterness in the character that I really didn't care for, and I kind of feel like within on Justice League in his limited runtime when he came back, he finally got to embody the inspiring Superman of the comics, the Superman of comic book lore, that godlike, but the goodness that's in him, that pure humanity. I kind of felt that came through a lot more in Justice League, the Snyder Cut.
Definitely.
Well, I want to see him return. I don't want to see him go.
Definitely. Well, especially now because we've had that version that we had seen in the Snyder Cut when he seems more like the Man of Tomorrow instead of the Man of Steel.
It's funny. He was in a black suit, and that's the least Stark he'd been in that series so far in the black suit.
Which is kind of very ironic when you think about it, actually. And I think just because of that fact, we've had this version, we saw where that arc was heading and that there was something planned for him to go through. I think that makes his journey even that much more incredible. And this is like we said, this is Henry Cavill. He's like the coolest actor around right now. And like we had said, like they're planning to do Val Zod, the series on HBO Max. But and that was, I think, the thing that was most upsetting to me was I don't know if they're still working on this, but years ago they were supposed to be doing a Supergirl film. And I'm like, well, what's going on with like Man of Steel 2? Or are we not going to have Superman around in the future? And I think what's can be a huge opportunity for this is that Dwayne Johnson, I keep wanting to call him The Rock. He actually is really wanting to push to have a showdown with Shazam and Superman. So hopefully we get that, and that can really be the push, and that really getting out there, getting those fans interested to say, hey, we want to have Henry Cavill come back, and we want to have him back in a Shazam movie, or when Shazam and Black Adam face off. So I think there's definitely a lot of potential, especially what we had just seen and where he was left off in the Snyder Cut. Hopefully, like we said too, it's kind of funny we're talking about Marvel capitalizing on it, but it's also incredibly stupid for DC and Warner Brothers not to capitalize it either, because this is just the embodiment of Superman. This is the perfect Superman around. And I really like Henry Cavill, and I really am a huge fan of Superman now, and I want to see him more in the future. So, and also touching upon that, we have some comic news. Mary Marvel is to replace Billy Batson as DC's new Shazam in the upcoming The Champion of Shazam series, written by Josie Campbell with art by Evan Doc Shaner. And another comic news we have is Spider-Man. Ben Reilly will be facing a new adversary called the Queen Goblin, set to debut in February 2022's Amazing Spider-Man number 88 by Zeb Wells and Michael Dowling. So interesting stuff to check out if you guys are into comics. Hopefully you guys are. And also interesting news, Michael Keaton confirms he'll reprise his role as Vulture in the MCU, currently filming on a secret unknown project. Any idea what that project is?
I have no idea.
I have no idea, but wouldn't it be awesome if he made if he's in the new Spider-Man, if he's I mean,
what I think it is they are filming as far as I know, the only thing they're really filming right now is the Multiverse of Madness. That film was going through extensive reshoots from I think a couple weeks ago, and it was going to be going up until the end of this year. So I think that was also a reason for why they pushed that. They pushed back a lot of their films for next year, but that could have been another. That was probably another good reason why they did. So I do feel like he's gonna pop up in the multiverse of madness. Also, there's huge rumors going around that Hugh Jackman and Patrick Stewart is going to be, they're both going to be reprising their roles as Wolverine and Professor X. So I think that lines up with everything going on. I think he's going to be appearing. They had said he could be appearing. We knew he's going to appear in Morbius. We don't know if he's exactly going to be Vulture, but I think that's a stretch just because that film shit has been completed for how long. So my biggest bet is that he's going to be involved. Well, that's the thing that was confusing me because they said secret/unknown project. I mean, is he talking about Secret Wars? I don't exactly know. So my first indication was Multiverse of Madness, but I don't exactly know, especially with that whole secret/unknown project.
I mean, it's hard to know, but it would be cool if he's in No Way Home and he surprises the hell out of us, and if that's just one of the many surprises the movie has in store. But the Multiverse of Madness seems like the most likely project that would be filming in secret. That's probably what it is. Although it does worry me just slightly that they're doing a bunch of reshoots. I usually get wary when I start hearing about reshoots because I connect it in my head with some bad decisions in comic book filmmaking, but let's hope it's not the case this time around.
Well, who knows? This could be for if they're planning to do those cameos, and that does line up with what we know so far about this film, or that the reason why it's going through extensive reshoots. Although it does, because of the time frame, it was like the beginning of November all the way till the end of the year. That's a lot of extensive reshoots for a film that's going to come out in 5 months. So that really set off a bell in my head too, or like I don't know if you should sound the alarm for it.
And then Sam Raimi has already been screwed over before in the past by studios messing, and we've seen the result with Spider-Man 3.
Thank you, Avi Arad.
Yeah, I hope this is not something like that. I mean, I hope they hired Sam Raimi because they trust his vision.
Yeah, exactly.
They should. I mean, it's Sam freaking Raimi, of course.
Yeah, we'll see. Maybe it's a Sony project.
It could be.
Who knows? Because I mean, technically, he's owned by that character is owned by Sony.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I don't know.
Guess we'll have to see what that secret project is, but. And so probably the biggest thing, what we've been waiting to cover about what's happened recently is we got our final trailer for Spider-Man No Way Home. We now have full confirmation Sandman from Spider-Man 3 and Lizard from The Amazing Spider-Man will be returning. How do you guys feel about everything we've seen so far? Has it been too much? And how excited are you guys for it overall?
I'm skeptical. I have some skepticism. Having said that, I'm really excited. In spite of my skepticism, I'm really excited. Just because, I mean, even if it's not what I hope it's going to be, I hope it's a lot of fun, and it's going to be exciting to see all these universes of Spider-Man collide. And I think it's about time we saw a live-action version of the multiverse with Spider-Man. So I'm really looking forward to it. I think it's interesting that they're bringing Sandman back because it's from one of the most unpopular Spider-Man movies, and also, yeah,
I liked his Sandman though.
Yeah, he was good. He was good.
Yeah.
Actually, you know what? He wasn't. I don't know.
You could tell he was supposed to be the main villain, and then obviously everything got screwed up with, hey, we got to have Venom in there. And obviously, too, because of Harry being the new Goblin and that storyline, you could just tell that he was meant to be the main villain. And I thought a lot of those scenes were a lot better, and they should have just focused on that because there was a lot of potential there, and there was a lot of good stuff, a lot of good material in there. And Thomas Hayden Church just knocked out of the park. He was just a really great actor.
It's probably like a chance for him to play the Sandman in a better Spider-Man movie. That's probably what he's, or that's how I would look at it. Like, also, I mean,
it's the same with Electro.
Yeah, the same with
giving him a chance to be a better Electro.
Yeah.
Hey, just remember, you're not going to take this away from him. That's what it says in the trailer.
Yeah. Electro looks awesome, by the way. I'm pretty sure. And you know what? Jamie Foxx isn't a bad choice for that role. It's just the way that they chose to portray him in that particular film was not good.
Yeah.
It's actually really bad. So it'll be interesting for some of these villains to come from lesser, like the lesser loved Spider-Man movies. Maybe it's their chance at redemption to kind of finally deliver the badass version that they were hoping for. So I'm looking forward to it.
Yeah.
Did you guys notice that some of these villains got some upgrades
or reworks?
Oh yeah,
of course. I was talking about. Did you guys notice that Electro he has an arc reactor?
Yeah, he has the arc reactor in the middle. So I mean, with all these leaks that have been coming out, it's kind of crazy. One of the leaks was actually a picture of Jamie Foxx in like his jacket that he has in the newest trailer. So kind of makes me think that a lot of the leaks that came out are actually true, like with all the different Spider-Man and stuff.
Yeah.
But yeah, and with that came like a whole list of rumors of this is what's going to happen in the movie. And one of them was people saying that he's going to try to steal Tony Stark's tech. So that's probably where the arc reactor came from in this trailer.
So who's going to be the sixth villain?
Mephisto.
It's like everything Mephisto. Like they've been saying everything. How long have we been saying that? Like 5-6 years or whatever.
That's the running meme.
What if they don't?
No, but so this is based off of what's that Spider-Man comic? It was a really bad one. It was unpopular, but where he goes to Doctor Strange because he wanted to change history, and Doctor Strange wouldn't do it. But then
it was like after Civil War, right?
Yeah, after Civil War.
I can't. I know which one you're talking about. I can't think of the name of it.
It's right after. I'm actually rereading this Daredevil comic.
Because that was the one
Guardian
where
Devil.
Mephisto told him that about bringing Aunt May back too.
Exactly.
Right?
That's what it was. Yeah, because Aunt May got shot.
Yeah.
Yeah, and he wanted to change stuff. So
God, I don't.
He ends up going. Yeah, one more day.
One more, yeah.
Spider-Man.
Final day, or was it one more day?
Something like that. But regardless, it was very unpopular.
Yeah, for good reason. It's not good.
So, but the main guy in there, the main villain that he goes to is Mephisto. So who knows? There's a lot of options. I mean, Venom's an option now. We know Venom's appeared in that universe now from the end of Venom 2. Mm-hmm. So he's an option, even though he's not an original Sinister Six. I hope it's not Venom because I really like the Venom Spider-Man rivalry and should be like its own thing. I don't want Venom to be part of the Sinister Six. The whole idea of the Sinister Six in the comic books was that they had to come together to almost beat Spider-Man.
Just have a chance.
And that's what it took.
Exactly.
But the rivalry between Venom and Spider-Man was always that Venom was that good that he could take over Spider-Man at times.
Exactly.
And so I really hope they don't do Venom dirty and make him the sixth villain. But we'll see. There's a lot of other villains to choose from. Didn't we get 2 Green Goblins in the trailer too?
Well, it's from there was a leak also that there was going to be another suit that Willem Dafoe would wear, and it looks in line. And I had was pausing it frame by frame, and it looked like the design from that suit. So I think it's Willem Dafoe.
Okay, so he probably shows up as one Green Goblin and changes into the other. Maybe they
because of everything that James Franco is going through right now. I doubt he's going to be coming back. That was a lot of people were saying, "Oh, that's James Franco," but with everything he's got going on, I don't.
There is no way in hell that they are going to allow that kind of controversy to overshadow what is potentially one of the biggest blockbusters of all time. So no, definitely not happening.
Also, another villain to get another upgrade was also Doc Ock. If you had noticed, his technology was taking on the nano, his arm was taking on the nano. It was like the nanobots.
Right. Yeah.
And it seems like he was siphoning it away from Peter, because if you look when he slams Peter, the technology is actually gone from his suit. So I think he's stealing it from Peter's suit, from what it looks like.
I gotta be honest, I don't care for that Otto Octavius joke that they throw in the trailer.
Yeah, neither do I. Maybe it's just because them being kids. Is that what it's meant to be?
I get it. It's a funny name because it's so on the nose in terms of what he is, Otto Octavius. But at the same time, it's a comic book. Treat it with a little bit more sincerity than, his name Otto. I don't like when they call attention to the fact that this is a comic book.
I think that's a callback though to Infinity War. Where he's like, hi, I'm Peter Parker. And it's like, oh, Doctor Strange. Oh, we're using our made up names. I'm Spider-Man. I think it's more of a callback like that.
Oh, could be. I didn't
There's
think of
that.
that.
There's that, but there's also I don't know if you've heard the theory online that that there are two split scenes. Because if you see the three of them, they're like in a garage, and when you see Doc Ock, he's almost like in a bigger like warehouse, and he's like inside of something. So the idea is that scene with Doc Ock, he's actually maybe being introduced to the other villains, whereas this one they're running into another Spider-Man, and they laugh because when they ask him what's your name, he probably says Peter Parker. So I've
been trying to stay away from all of that, honestly.
I know so many different theories, and half of it, I'm sure half of it is marketing from Sony. I bet they're releasing a lot of these leaks almost to kind of get people away. Leaks. Yeah, almost to get people to stop talking so much about it, because I don't think I've ever experienced any superhero movie with this many leaks.
Yeah, ever. Seriously.
And knowing Sony, so I don't know if you guys know, I used to work at Sony Pictures. I was a consultant there when they got hacked back in, what was it, 2013, 2014?
Oh, you were working there at the time?
I was there when they got hacked. And,
really?
And when I was working there, so they got hacked because of the interview, right? Like I still remember the screen popping up that said like that you've been hacked, and there was a lot of stuff that went around that. But I know the security there is tight now at Sony Pictures. And I remember before I would be able to get onto like whatever server and see pictures for the new Spider-Man movie. I just working there, but everything got like locked down. So I'm really surprised at all these leaks with how locked down Sony Picture is and how secretive they are. So I doubt any of this is really like I think it's on purpose. I think a lot of it's on purpose. I think a lot of what has been leaked is probably in like the first few like minutes, maybe the first quarter, first third of the movie, and the rest of it is just going to be a total surprise to us. And hopefully. That's what I'm really hoping for, because I don't
want to know everything going into this movie.
Exactly.
I want to be shocked. I don't want to know, oh, this is going to happen. I want surprise. I want to be taken aback. So yeah, let's hope. Yeah.
I'm really hoping that, because one comparison I saw online is, imagine if we had these many leaks for Avengers Endgame.
Oh god, like, I would have been pissed.
Imagine there was like a picture of like Tony Stark with the Infinity Gauntlet in his hand snapping. Yeah. Like that would suck.
Or someone said that Captain America is finally going to say Avengers Assemble. I would have flipped over this goddamn table right now.
Or Steve Rogers is going to lift Mjolnir. Steve
Rogers with Thor hammer.
Yeah, like
no, Avengers Assemble. That would have been it for me. I would have been that's the top of the list for me.
I think all of those and all of those would have been like potential leaks, right? But none of that ever got leaked, and I doubt that their security has lit up now for pretty much the most important MCU movie since Endgame.
Yeah, that's what I wondered too. Like on a lot of I try to avoid spoilers as much as possible, because I don't exactly want to be too much in the know, or I don't want to read a bunch of theories on, oh, I saw this one thing, that means this thing, that means this thing, because of that. I just don't like to be somebody who goes on the rabbit hole that much. I still want to be surprised, and I want to really just live in that experience and be in the moment, as far as not being able to predict or be able to know what's happening next.
Yeah,
it seems like this is going to be the Spider-Man movie that MCU fans have been waiting for, like the big giant event Spider-Man movie, because I've liked the Spider-Man movies a lot out of the MCU, but they've all felt a lot smaller scale than a lot of their other stories, especially coming after Endgame and what they're sandwiched in between. They seem like really small stories, and Spider-Man is the most iconic of Marvel superheroes. So
yeah.
I think it's about time he got a giant spectacle that's worthy of that character, and I think that's what they're going for with this one.
Well, I mean, that was supposed to be his journey to what he was supposed to be, because that whole thing on, why can't you just be a friendly neighborhood Spider-Man, and the whole thing on him turning down admission into the Avengers, like this was supposed to be kind of him enjoying his childhood, enjoy being a kid, and obviously we saw a huge jump in that from Homecoming to Far From Home, with the whole like, oh, I just want to enjoy my summer. I don't want to do anything Spider-Man related. I just want to enjoy going to Europe with my friends and telling the girl I like her. So I think that that's exactly falling in line with the stories that they're telling and that arc that they're setting in motion.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, obviously they had to build to it before they had this.
Yeah, exactly.
But yeah,
but it kind of looks like from the trailer too that Doc Ock actually might not fully be a member of the Sinister Six. Do you guys think that that's like, it looks like him and Electro are fighting in one sequence?
Yeah. I mean, they could be fighting to try and kill Spider-Man. Like, no, I want to kill him. Like, who deserves it more to kill him? There's also, so I mean, you mentioned the new tech. At one point in the new trailer, it actually looks like Doc Ock is like amazed at the new tech. Like, he's looking at his arm, like, what the heck is this doing? And like, it's changing. So maybe he's realizing something weird's happening, and maybe he just wants to get back to his Spider-Man to kill him. Because you notice, like, he stops when he figures out that it's not his Spider-Man, it's not his Peter Parker.
Exactly.
So maybe he might actually kind of join Spider-Man in trying to get everyone back to their universes. Like, it could be something like that.
His beef is not with this version of Peter Parker.
Yeah.
It's very clear that he's disappointed when he sees him unmasked in the trailer, and it looks like they're actually working together. Yeah, he wants to get back to his Spider-Man.
Yeah, also, I mean, he legit got pulled off the bridge when he gets killed by Spider-Man, right?
Yeah.
That's when he dies in the original ones?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so...
Well, I mean, he sacrifices himself.
Oh, yeah, that's right.
Interesting what you said. Alfred Molina was saying recently that he himself was amazed working on the set to see that, like, he couldn't believe how far technology and filmmaking has gone and the advancements in superhero films that since he last played Dr. Octopus, he's kind of blown away.
Which was only like 16, 17 years. So when you think about how far we've come since then. Yeah, exactly. Like
yeah.
But this is pretty cool. This is probably one of the most eventful things ever. I can't really think of anything. Well, obviously we talk, Endgame, but the fact of this is just different because now we're doing the Raimi trilogy. We're doing Mark Webb's Spider-Man series and all of that coming into MCU and all of that being connected in canon now. I can't really think of anything as eventful as this in film history. Spider-Man 3 kind of comes close, but I don't know. If there's not going to be any, if Tobey Maguire doesn't walk out of that wormhole and start doing this, then I'm just going to be severely disappointed. And I'm going to be like, you know what? Yeah. Spider-Man 3 is definitely the greatest Spider-Man movie of all time. Screw this movie. And screw MCU.
Yeah.
What's that song? That hero song? Now that a hero could save us. I forgot who that's by.
Oh yeah.
I'm gonna be disappointed if that's not playing at the climax. If that's not playing over the climax of Tobey Maguire's entrance, that's how I picture it.
So I see that meme go around. It's just like so when the end credits roll, and all of a sudden, and they say that I hear.
No, not during the end credits. I want Tobey Maguire Spider-Man to swing into the universe as that song is playing.
And save MJ.
Yeah.
Man.
Before he realizes it's not his MJ. I'm just kidding.
Exactly. No, it's crazy, but like in all honesty, I really hope these leaks are just marketing. And if anyone that's watching, like if you guys see a leak, don't just be like retweeting or resharing it, and don't ruin the movie for someone else that's really trying to go into it and have a good time. I mean, like, we share it amongst ourselves, but obviously a lot of it's because we have this podcast. We want to talk about different theories and stuff. But in the end, like, we really want the fans to really, truly enjoy it and be surprised by a lot of it. And I think there's a difference also between, like, reading source material versus, like, trying to figure out what's happening in the movie before you get in. But in the end, I think all these leaks and stuff kind of suck. And could you imagine, like, going in to watch this movie not knowing that there's a possibility that all three Spider-Man might show up?
Exactly.
Right? Like, that would have been crazy.
I mean, they have to, like, make a balance between getting for the leaks, getting the fans excited without spoiling too much and pissing fans off.
Yeah.
I'm sure, a lot of the leaks, like you said, Eric, I'm pretty sure this is just marketing. I'm hoping some of the leaks are at least a little misleading, or if not entirely true, only skirting the truth, just so we can get some level of surprise. At least that's what I'm hoping for. So hopefully they're planned leaks.
Yeah. I think there's something to the fact that as of now, we still have more questions than answers.
Exactly.
So there's still a lot that's going to surprise us. I'm pretty sure in the movie.
Definitely.
But in the end, I mean, I think regardless, it's going to be a fun movie to watch. It's going to be a good movie. I don't want to get my hopes up too much, but I doubt it's going to be a disappointment.
Yeah, I don't think so either.
Yeah.
So a lot of great stuff to.
I was going to say tickets go on sale this week for the movie, so make sure to check that out.
Yeah, a lot of great stuff to come. Be careful checking out all those spoilers or all those theories on what people are saying. If it wasn't for this podcast, I probably wouldn't be looking up anything. I wouldn't have really been following all these pages.
Don't lie. You're curious.
Somewhat, but that movie is going to be awesome. Make sure you guys check it out. And moving on to the last topic of the day, we actually had the first 2 episodes of Hawkeye drop last week. What did you guys think of the series overall? Where do you think it's headed?
I enjoyed it so far. Not too much happened in the first couple of episodes, but I think it's an interesting setup so far. I'm enjoying it. I don't know if it's as good as the recent MCU shows like Loki or Falcon or Captain and whatever you want to call it. I'll call it Falcon and the Winter Soldiers because it was the title and WandaVision. But it's interesting so far.
Yeah, I think for the first 2 episodes, as far as that goes, it's probably one of the weaker initial pilot episodes. Yeah. But even with that, I think they've done a good job of establishing who Kate Bishop is, and they've done a good job of establishing kind of what the theme is. And I think the direction is going is a Hawkeye having almost like imposter syndrome, right? Like, I don't deserve to be an Avenger type of thing. There's that, and because like you see that scene where he's in the restaurant and he's like, "Oh, I don't want you to pay for my meal," but they do anyway. And like people keep telling him how great he is, but it's almost like he doesn't believe it. And then there's this whole backstory behind Ronin and the costume showing up and his time as a Ronin. So maybe he feels like no one really knows that Hawkeye was Ronin, so you don't know me.
Probably feels like he hasn't fully redeemed himself yet.
Yeah.
Exactly. Well, I mean, obviously too, because he tried to sacrifice himself in Endgame, and you know, I think that was part of it too, was because of what he had done in his time as Ronin. Yeah,
but he's such a good person that guilt still lingers kind of with him. Although I did think it's kind of funny that I wouldn't call it meta, but they're somewhat aware of addressing the fact that Hawkeye is like one of the I don't want to say least popular, but one of the less like known Avengers, or one of the less iconic ones. Yeah. And they kind of play up to that in that angle, like with the way that Kate Bishop talks about him about his marketing,
like his branding.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
How he needs to improve his brand. It seemed somewhat meta without being too meta. And of course, the little kid getting excited to see a superhero, and then running straight past him to a cosplayer.
Yeah,
which is kind of funny because, like they had said too, in that musical that they were going to in the first episode, you had Ant-Man there who wasn't even around in the Avengers during that time. It's kind of funny because so that really goes to show too, like from that whole branding perspective and all of that.
Yeah, maybe someone saw Ant-Man from Endgame. Maybe they saw them in that alley.
Mm-hmm. Oh, could have been
because he was there. Right? He was there with Cap and Iron Man. So maybe someone did see him.
Oh yeah, he was the one who coined the term "America's ass." So
exactly, there you go. But yeah, I think Hawkeye it kind of feels like a weird Christmas show too. So
I don't think it's a mistake that they drop right around the Christmas season too.
Yeah.
As Christmas is coming, all the Christmas songs, the Christmas visuals,
the marketing around it. Yeah.
Home on Christmas. It's total Christmas. It's a Christmas show.
Yeah. So and him being a family man, it also makes sense to kind of play on that a bit too. Mm-hmm. And him coming from like, I'm doing this not just to like save the planet, but it's more to save my family. Mm-hmm. And then you have Kate Bishop coming from like a broken family, and you have that juxtaposition and how much Kate looks up to him. I think it's going to be like kind of of course it's going to be superhero movie show, but it's going to have like a lot of like family values in it. So it's something we kind of missed from the other Marvel shows. Like you have those shows talking about like grief, obviously racism, existentialism with Loki. And I think this one is just kind of fitting for Hawkeye. It's more of a grounded movie, right? It's more grounded. It's almost more realistic and that they're just fighting ground level villains, and Kate just got involved in some like messy mafia with the tracksuit mafia guys. Like, so I think that's kind of where they're going with this. It's more of a grounded story in the MCU, which I kind of miss, because I kind of missed seeing those grounded stories in like Daredevil and Luke Cage. Like those stories I really liked because it was ground level stories. And so I think with Hawkeye, we're gonna get a little more of that.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah. And I even like, because talking on that whole concept of family, the minute he had seen that somebody had stole someone had stole the Ronin costume, he immediately acted and went. He was ready to beat them to hell. And the minute he took it off and saw, it was like you saw like those father instincts kick in right away. Where he's like, hey, you, like, you know, he goes from here like, hey, you okay? Everything you good? Everything. And you see, I think a good portion of this is because he looks as her as a kind of daughter figure, or someone that he, you know, you see those instincts
probably
kick in to protect.
A little bit of his daughter in her.
Yeah,
definitely. So yeah. So and getting back to those ground level stories, this is definitely what I appreciated, because obviously a lot of what we've seen so far, this has definitely been the most realistic and most grounded we're definitely going to see. Falcon and Winter Soldier had that a little bit, but obviously because of the whole super soldier serum and a lot of things happening, it wasn't as grounded, and this has that chance to just stay low level and stay street level, which is something that I definitely appreciate. And I like how, as I've gotten older, I used to be somebody when I was younger who had said, oh, well, I don't like this because it embraces dumb fun and embraces the silliness of the comics. I really just appreciated that scene where he goes to the LARPing event, and he, you know, especially somebody like him who was just, you know, when we first saw him in the Avengers, he was just brooding in his little nest. Yep. And now we see him get to the point where he's actually partaking in a LARPing event and having to have a ritualistic combat by death. And I just really appreciate those kind of things, and that just being in those moments and having those kind of things. Like, you know, he's the guy who was around in the Battle of New York, and now he's LARPing with these people. So it's just great.
Funny.
Yeah. There's you get the sense that he takes himself a bit seriously, and this is all beneath him.
Yeah.
But I feel like that's going to be somewhat part of his arc a little bit. It's like as the show goes along, at least with Kate Bishop and everything, she's probably going to teach him a little bit how to have a little bit more fun in life. Yeah. How to not take yourself always so seriously.
Yep.
So
definitely.
But yeah, I thought that that part was pretty amusing. And I could understand somebody wanting is like, hey, you're a superhero in real life. You can't like just do me like the courtesy of just let me have this fantasy. Let me play it out. You're the hero. You're going to save everybody. This is just, you know, just have some fun.
Yep.
And I like that fact, too, that while he has a branding, a marketing problem, obviously, everybody respects him. They don't look at him as like a lower tier character or like the Tito of the group. I don't exactly want to like saying that, but the way to make people understand. Like, he's still somebody who is respectable and is looked at as a hero, even though, you know, he's probably the least powerful member of the group. Even like Black Widow is essentially way more popular than him. So I do like that fact that they don't disrespect him, or they still see like, hey, you're a hero. Hey, you're an Avenger. That's really cool to see.
Yep.
Yeah.
How about the fight? How do you guys like the fights? Are the fights good, do you think?
I think so far the action has been good. I don't think they get too much into fights. I think we're going to see more like sword fighting, especially with the swordsmen showing up.
Exactly.
Yeah.
But as of now, I'm okay with the action. It's fine. I don't think it's out there. It's not sure as hell isn't Shang-Chi or anything, but
Daredevil.
Yeah, or Daredevil.
It's not their best action, but it's still pretty. I mean, there's only 6 episodes, but I still feel like there's a lot more to go, and I'm pretty sure that they're going to be saving some of hopefully their more spectacular or show-offy fight action sequences for bigger moments. Right now, it's kind of just building up at this point. But especially I like the relationship developing between Kate Bishop and Hawkeye, though. Yeah,
so far, but especially with like Echo coming in at the end of the second episode, you're going to see more. And obviously, like we knew Echo was going to get her own show later on. It was announced as part of Disney Plus Day as well. But having Echo actually show up this early in Hawkeye, it's pretty cool to see. So hopefully we get get to know more of that, because their relationship in the comics was really good, especially with Hawkeye. We learned early on in the show that he's gone deaf, or he's going deaf.
Yeah.
So he's gonna need some help from Echo.
The only thing as far as the action, I hope we get to see a more distinct fighting style for Kate. We didn't really see it too much. We know that she's been doing martial arts most of her life. We don't exactly know what style she trained in. It seems like her fighting style is a bit too similar to Black Widow, with a lot of takedowns, just a lot of running, taking people down. We don't exactly see a lot of.
But that kind of serves the story at where point she's at, because that's her idol. It's clear that she picked that up because that moment as a child, seeing all the events from the Avengers, that he's the one that's stuck in her mind. While everybody else is awed by Iron Man and Captain America, she's really idolizing this guy, and it's clear that she loves. So it makes sense at this point in the story that she's still coming into her own. And
right, I understand that completely, and I can understand her being a little bit clumsy just because she hasn't. She's a girl too, and fighting a lot of guys that are way more stronger, way more powerful than her. But I just wish we could have seen a little bit more distinctness from her fighting. A lot of it is just like her running, taken down. That's pretty much it. I haven't really seen anything too distinct from that. I do think this is probably one of their weaker in terms of just being in the very beginning, but I think there's a lot of potential here. And obviously, Jeremy Renner is a great actor, and Hawkeye is awesome. So, and Echo, a lot of great stuff to come.
Yep.
Definitely rate it. Definitely a lot of potential to come. So, with all that being said, that is all the time we have for today. Thank you guys so much for joining us on today's episode. Make sure you guys check out the Higher Passion channel. Follow, like, subscribe to that. Check out the other podcasts we have. Follow us on IG at Heroes and Mutants Podcast. Thank you guys so much for joining us. We will see you next time.
See you guys.
Cheers.